All right, we're going out to Kay in New Orleans, Louisiana. Okay, Kay, what's up, Kay? That was a terrible. What accent was that?
Hi, Dr. John.
Dude, I just shamed my family. What? I was kind of like if Louisville, and never mind, I need to stop. Listen, I'm sorry, Kay, for badgering the. What's up? How can I help?
Thanks for taking my call.
Of course, and embarrassing myself. What's up? What an abomination.
So, my question is, how do I improve the relationship with my family when some members are trying to make them choose between me or them?
What'd you do?
Well,
I was just fishing there, but I guess you did. What'd you do?
I did. So throughout high school and college, I struggled with alcohol, drug abuse, and relationship issues. And then about 5 years ago, my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, physically hurt me, and it was pretty bad. I ended up needing emergency surgery.
What did he do? What did he do?
Well, drug-induced psychosis hit me and broke my arm.
My gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So my parents stepped in. I was 21 at the time, and they stepped in and they made me move home, put me on house arrest, and sent me to an outpatient rehab.
Was that a good move?
The rehab was, I got sober. Really, really changed my life, honestly. But them putting me on house arrest and treating me like a child again really kind of was not so good because shortly after I started talking to my boyfriend again, and my dad lost it and basically cut off all communication with me and kicked me out and stopped speaking to me. So
do you so I want to let me I know we're just getting to the story, but let me butt in here, okay?
Sure.
I hearing what just transpired. I both think, I'd probably handle it differently. And I 1000% understand.
Yeah.
Nobody out there is taking care of my daughter. I'm going all in. And man, I went too far. I made too many, whatever. I'm going all in. And then when I find out my daughter is going back to this guy that put her in the hospital, that beat her up, that's an unsafe drug using maniac. She's going back. At some point, I can see your father saying, "I can't have this. I've got to protect me and my wife now." Now I can armchair quarterback that and be like, "You never give up on your daughter," all those things that I would say. But I also want to say, man, I have a little 7-year-old girl. And let me tell you, Kay, I'd go to the ends of the earth. Right?
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah.
Your dad says, get out. You do get out. And then you go right back to abusive boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay. And then y'all decide, you know what? Things are already crazy. Hold our beer. We're going to get married.
Yeah. So it was crazy because, he got sober and clean too. And I ended up moving in with his parents. And really both of us kind of turned our lives around. And it was
you didn't cheat on him, did you?
No.
Okay. All right. Good. I thought that's where you're headed. All right. Good.
No.
All right. So what happened?
No,
what happened?
We got married a year later.
Okay.
And so it was good. And I was had written off my family because it just, I had spoken with my dad and he'd be like, well, I just kind of had wished that you would have just failed and needed to come back to me. And I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of, I get his side of it. I really do. But it sounds like a crazy story, but it was just that one time thing that nobody really understands unless they're living in it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But now, after we've been married a couple years, my dad sees us and wants to start talking to us again. So we've been trying to build that relationship. However, I have one aunt who won't let me come to any family events or anything if she or her kids are going to be there. So, like, this is Christmas, this is Father's Day with my dad, this is anything. And it's my dad and my stepmom really kind of take her side in it. And I just don't know what to do at this point. Like, I've sat with my dad, I've sat with my stepmom, I've said, I'm sorry, let me make amends. My husband and I have sat with them. And I've tried with my aunt, and she just won't let me.
Cool. So there's
I don't know where to go.
Oh man. So I also can I say one more thing about your dad before I move on?
Sure.
It would be very odd, not unheard of, but out there a little bit, if there weren't challenges in your childhood your whole life with being heard or listened to or connected with. Is that fair?
Yeah, my mom passed away when I was a kid, and my dad and I just have had a awful relationship.
Yes. And you've been trying to figure out how that can be a whole other call. I want to honor you too. Okay. There's a reason your body said, hey, being high is better than what I've got to deal with at home. Checking out is safer than this. This guy is safer than this. Okay. And so I want to honor your body too, trying to take care of you as well in the middle of a chaotic situation. Losing your mom is wild. Always asking dad, why are you as wild? Trying to be the token of his, like trying to heal his depression and all the grief and all that. You've been through a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now I hear somebody who's gone to hell and back several times, pretty scarred and beat up, but the light is on. And you and this guy, man, he's screwed up, but it sounds like he has worked his butt off to get clean and to make his life right and to never, ever, ever put his hands on you again, ever. And y'all are making a life for yourself. And there's some people that want to hang on to the past, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take, which hand do you write with, right or left?
My right.
Okay. I want you to squeeze it as tight as you possibly can and hold it for a count of 5. Squeeze it super hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let it go. Just open it all the way up.
Okay.
That's the feeling. If Aunt doesn't want to come, Aunt's not going to come. If your dad chooses he wants to have a relationship with you, he wants to lean back in after kicking you out, after a pretty rocky, rotten childhood, he wants back in, great. But when it comes down to it, he's going to side with his sister.
Yeah.
You have to let that go. You can no longer try to be the person who solves all your dad's problems. You've been doing that your whole freaking life.
Yeah.
Right? And that means you have to make peace with your dad would rather make sure his sister is happy than like the prodigal son's father go running out to meet his daughter.
Yeah.
And that is going to hurt like bloody hell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry. My dream is this has a happy ending and that he is like, what am I doing? This is my only daughter. I've already lost my first wife. This is my daughter. And he sprints down the driveway, down the street and meets you before you even get home. And right now, it sounds like he's talking to his sister Karen to make sure she's okay with the arrangements before, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is there anything that I do with her? I mean,
This isn't on you. You can reach out.
yeah, I've reached out like 3 times. I had a face-to-face meeting with her, and she just screamed and left.
Yeah,
And
listen, she's acting like a child, not like an adult.
yeah.
And I'm not saying the ending would be the same. An adult may sit down and say, "Listen, I see that y'all have made a go of it. I see that y'all got married. I cannot take the risk with my family, my little kids, that guy doesn't show up here high and hit somebody else and put him in the hospital again. I lived through that. I refuse to live through it again, period." I might disagree with that outcome. I might totally agree with that outcome, but that would be an adult way to handle it. Just screaming and hollering, "Yeah, come on." She's a 7-year-old. And when a 7-year-old starts throwing a temper tantrum, I'm not going to give you the attention. I'm going to, as Jay-Z says, brush my shoulders off. I'm going to walk out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The alternative is you are going to spend another decade running around like a squirrel in a backyard trying to solve all of the discomforts of the adults in your life, and that's just simply not your job. Your job is to be an honorable, great wife, a good partner, to be a great citizen, at some point a great mother, if that's the route y'all choose to take, to continue your sobriety and your healing, to lean into those relationships that lean back into you. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's real common for somebody who loses their mom, whose mom dies, whose dad dies, to go to the ends of the earth to try to keep the family duct taped and stitched together.
Yeah.
The hard work is
feels
grief.
like, yeah.
Feels like what?
It feels like I'm the only one that's really trying to.
Then let go. Open your hands.
Yeah.
Create the greatest Thanksgiving and Christmas. That may be something you've never done, is sit down with your husband and do it in June. Hey, what do we want Christmas not to look like? What do we want it to feel like?
Yeah.
We want it to have lots of laughter, and we want it to have silly gifts, and we want it to have old movies. That might mean no families involved. That might mean a couple of friends, because our families don't laugh. They're too serious. They get all uptight. They want to complain about the way you're letting Billy grow his hair out, whatever. I think the whole world, Kay, is realizing that life is simply too short to have it dictated and operated by other people who will never be satisfied. And I think globally, we're all realizing, I don't want you to use me as a way to make you feel better.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you and I love you. I'm going to treat you with dignity and kindness, and I'm heading off. You have a great week. And you're going to have to deal with, maybe you write a letter to her that you will never send. Maybe you write a letter to your dad that you will never send, but you process this, you sit in it for a minute, and then you begin it's going to be hard, but it could be really fun task of deciding, like, what do we want our life to look like? Because we can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Fair?
Yeah. It's fair. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I just go, don't talk to them anymore, or just like talk to them on their terms, or.
I think you put one day on your calendar once a month that you reach out.
Okay.
And if they say, "Oh, you're just going to not talk to us anymore," you are happy to, just like you would with a high school boyfriend, say, the phone works both ways.
Yeah.
And maybe you quit calling. You start writing letters. And you just put it on your calendar. I'm going to write once a month.
Okay.
And I'm going to communicate, because this is the only way the children and adults' bodies and clothes are able for me to communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, our communication becomes a way for them to lecture us and to complain to us and to try to solve all of our problems and to let us know what they think of our decision. That's cool, man. And I will say this. You said it's one-time thing, and you can only know it if you were living in it. I want to challenge that. The one thing I do know is that when I'm emotional, when I'm really head over heels for somebody or something, or I'm really raged out, or I'm terrified and scared because somebody's hurting me or trying to hurt me, I know that my body goes directly into fight or flight. There's also fight or flight or freeze, and there's also a less common, less talked about fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. When I'm going to nuzzle up to the person that keeps hurting me in an attempt to try to woo them and to stop hurting me. And people who suffer from abuse often say things like, you just don't understand, and it's just one time. And it's kind of like when the way Holyfield beat Tyson was he kept getting real close, real close. And it feels insane, except that people can't fully extend a punch when you're 1 inch away from them. That's the fawn. I'm going to love you. And I know that when I get emotional, I have to have people in my life that I trust, that I outsource that to. I got to have this truck. I got to have this truck. Dude, don't buy a truck, you idiot. Okay, thanks. My wife's the worst. Dude, your wife's pretty awesome. You're actually the moron right now. You got to have other people in your life speak into it. And if somebody is willing to burn your relationship down in order to save your life, when all the smoke and fog clear, sometimes it's good to exhale and say, thank you. I didn't like how that felt or how you did that, but thank you. This is a messy situation, Kay. I want you to always go back to you and your husband saying, hey, what do we want our life to look like? How do we want our life to feel? What do we want this thing to look like in 3 to 5 years? And most importantly, what of this can we control? And let's set off down that road together and brush those shoulders off.